Hello, this is Josh from Strange Remains Curio Shop in downtown Las Vegas. So, as some of you may know, Area 51 is pretty close to Vegas. So, in honor of that, I wanted to show you guys how to make your very own alien eggs. So, you will need a few items for this, so I'll show you the items. And the first we have is tinfoil. You need some tinfoil. You also need some Sculpey. You need some basic sculpting tools, some paint brushes, an assortment of paints, some Mod Podge. I prefer the matte finish on them, gives them a nice look, and some fabric tack. You will see why this stuff is very cool and gives you some really neat effects. Alright, now that we've got all our supplies and we're ready to start working, I'm going to switch this over to a time-lapse video. So now we have our basic egg shape done out of tinfoil. So next we're going to get the Sculpey out and start actually getting the Sculpey on it and then start molding our alien egg. Okay, now that you have the Sculpey on your egg, you've got your main little pod top done. Now what I like to do is I like to take a brush like this, wire brush, and add some texture on it. Just so that way when I'm painting it, I'll have some crevices that I can do some darker spots in, some highlights, and just makes it have a little bit nicer feel. And so what I'm doing is I'm just running the brush right in here, and you can see it'll give a little texture, a little bumpiness. Makes it look a lot better once it's painted. All right, now we're ready to bake it and then get to the painting. All right, now that we have our egg all done and we put it in the oven, I use a temperature of 275 degrees for about 22 minutes and then pull it out and let it cool. So while that's going on, I actually have another one that I was going to paint so we can just finish up this video. So first I'm going to give it a coat of black paint, and we'll do that right now, and then we'll let that dry, and then we'll start doing all the textured other colors. Alright, now that you have the base coat on it, what I like to do is take two different greens, a lighter green and a darker green, and I'll put a daub of each of it on a piece of paper. I'll do that down here real quick. Then what I do is I take a little piece of foam, give me kind of like a nice little texture, and I will start with the light green and just kind of dab around on it to start giving myself some sort of textures. And you want to work it out and get dry spots of the sponge so that it'll start doing a nice little texture like that and a fade. So I'll do that all over the egg. And the good thing about this is you can go back, you can make certain parts lighter or darker, however you feel is right for the way you want your egg to come out. I like to give mine kind of a nice little hue to it that'll make it look more as extraterrestrial, I guess. So I kind of like the light lime greens in it. So that's just a first, with the light stuff, and then I'll go in with a little bit darker, kind of mix that into it. And you can spend a long time doing this. It's really up to you how detailed you want to go. I always try to make it fade up into the little tops so it looks more like they're like lips that are going to spread open. So now that we've got our greens on there, it's time to cover it with Mod Podge and do a little decorating. Alright, now one thing I did forget to mention is that I actually use two Mod Podges. I use the gloss and the matte. So I use the gloss to first go over the whole thing because I like it to kind of shine through in certain spots, and then afterwards I go over with the matte to kind of dull everything, so then when we put the slime on and the oozy stuff, that it makes it really stand out. So I'm going to apply this right now. Alright, now that the Mod Podge has dried, you can see a difference between the matte areas and then the glossy areas. Now I leave some of the areas glossy because I like to make a nice kind of wet look on them, and that's where the finishing touches come in, using L Fabric Tack. So what you do, this stuff is really neat. You can get it at Walmart or anything like that. You can see it comes out, you can make nice stringy, slimy, little drooly things, and I do this kind of on the seams. Go right down them, and then I like to bring some down because you can stretch this stuff and make it look like spider webs almost. It works really great for resembling drool and whatnot. And I'll add some just running down. Alright, so now you can see we've got some nice drooly nastiness on top of there. So let it dry, and then you can do whatever you want with it. Make some cool little mini movies or whatnot. Hope you enjoyed this video.